Well, folks, the Democrat medical tyranny continues as health officials in Los Angeles County are now strongly recommending that people start wearing masks indoors again, regardless of vaccination status. What sense does that make? None, right? All of this after Governor Newsom reopened California and lifted the statewide mask mandate. And they wonder why Americans are skeptical of these health and safety orders. Even the Biden administration now considering reinstating China virus mask mandates amid what I call manufactured fears of this new Delta variant of the China virus. This never-ending medical tyranny is becoming a permanent fixture of society. They need this control. And somehow, we still don't have all the facts about the China virus and where it came from. I see right through it, and so does our friend Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio.
He knows the American taxpayers have funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China. Third, he knows that the research grant didn't go through the required oversight board. Fourth, he knows the virus, quote, looks engineered and, quote, not consistent with evolutionary theory. And finally, fifth, Dr. Fauci knows he may have ties to this work in China. His fingerprints, in fact, may be on this.
Well, that would explain why Dr. Flip-Flop Fauci declined to appear before that congressional committee. Well, I want to welcome in Republican Congressman of Ohio. Jim Jordan is with us. Congressman, great to see you.
Good to be with you, Graham.
You know, it's amazing to me. He works for us, Congressman, and he decides not to appear before your committee. This is the one guy we really need to be questioning.
No kidding. For a year and a half, you couldn't go a day without seeing Dr. Fauci on the news, on the front page of the paper, Time Mating Person of the World for, Person of the Millennium or whatever it was. He was everywhere. But now, when suddenly we understand that he was on notice as early as January 31st at 10:32 p.m. when he got an email from one of the virologists who gets our tax dollars, Dr. Anderson, he got an email from him saying, look, this virus looks engineered. It is not consistent with evolutionary theory. On January 31st, 2020, Dr. Fauci was on notice about this thing coming from a lab and being engineered. And what did he do? He tried to cover his tracks and hide that information from the American people for over a year. Now, again, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't think so. And I had 4 emails today that showed that. But if I'm wrong, why wouldn't Dr. Fauci come in and answer our questions? Because he's afraid of something. So this should tick off every American, because this is the guy who was responsible for all the lockdowns, all the businesses that had to be closed, some of them never to reopen. It was all Dr. Fauci who was the catalyst for all this. He was the spokesperson for all this mindset, and yet he doesn't have the decency to come in today and talk to us after what looks like a cover-up to me.
Well, what's not surprising is as new information starts to come out here, you got former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying inside the State Department they were doing everything they could. Enormous resistance, he called it, to look into the idea of this gain-of-function research going on. Then Dr. Giroir, I believe this was in front of your committee, said all of the scientists working for the United States government, they were trying to run the other direction. Let's run that clip of Dr. Giroir.
I'll just say Dr. Birx said she knew her career was over the moment she came to the task force because she would be prejudicially
excommunicated from the scientific community because she may have supported some thesis that scientifically was true, and we all know to be true, but Trump supported.
That it came from the lab, Congressman. I mean, These bureaucrats, scientists, whatever you want to call them, are running the other direction.
Yeah, and they lecture us about the science when it was all for them political, and for the mainstream media all political. I mean, this is frightening that people are that afraid to speak the truth. Dr. Fauci, though, I'm convinced that email at 10:32. Remember, he gets an email the next day from his top assistant who says gain-of-function research is in fact happening in the Wuhan lab in China. Experiments are being done there. And it didn't go through what's called the P3 framework, which is this oversight body that's supposed to approve any gain-of-function research grants that are given to anyone. It didn't go through that. So that's when Dr. Fauci realizes, wow, we were doing gain-of-function research in China, funded by American taxpayers, didn't go through the proper oversight board. And the night before, he got an email from one of the scientists who gets grant dollars who said, I don't think this genome is consistent with evolutionary theory. It looks engineered. All that he knows on January 31st and February 1st of 2020, and yet for a year he downplayed any lab leak theory of this virus and said, "Oh no, it came from an animal, jumped to humans from an animal." I mean, this is frightening because he's supposed to be honest with the American people, particularly when he's given press conferences from the White House.
Congressman, this is a guy who's supposed to be out there protecting us from this virus. Meanwhile, he's claiming one thing when he knows another. And thank God for the work some of you are doing up there, including yourself, Jim Jordan. We appreciate you always coming on the program. Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.